Okay, for homework 11.8, I'd like you to copy everything I'm copying down, even if I erase it. And I'd like you to write the 3 words on a separate piece of paper to show me that you listened. All right, for this, I need you to know the difference between an expression, an equation, and an inequality. An expression is just letters and numbers that's not equal to anything. An equation has 2 things that are clearly equal, has an equal sign in there. That is an equation. If I have what's called an inequality, there is no equal in there. We have this inequality alligator symbol, which is translated into less than or more than. This one, the way it's pointed, is less than, the one that looks most like an L, kind of like an L, capital L. More than is the one that does not look like an L. More than's going this direction right here. But again, an expression, no equal, just numbers and letters. An equation, equal to something. An inequality has that inequality symbol in there. First word, curiosity. Curiosity, first word. All right, so here we go. What I want you to do, we're going to erase this stuff. I want you to keep copying what I'm doing, even if I erase it. All right, here we go. Let me show you how we use them. For an expression, the only thing I could do with it is to either add another expression with numbers and letters and then focus on what we learned today, only combining the like terms and the numbers. You could do that with an expression, combine it with another expression. You could also do this. You could also give a value. I could pick a value for X that has you take that and plug it in. We call that evaluating the expression. When I take that value for X and plug it in and do the math, that's evaluating the expression. I could do that, but I can't do anything much more with it. For an equation, what I'm doing is looking for the only one answer I could plug in right there to do the math and get 14. For my expression, I could plug in any number I want. I could have plugged in 2, I could have plugged in 5, I could plug in 1, I could plug in a million, trillion, gazillion if I want. But again, an expression, you choose what you plug in. You plug in any number you want, and based on what you plug in, follow the math it's saying to do, order of operations. If it's an equation, there's only one number that I could plug in there and make that 14. To find that number, we're going to start to do what's called inverse operations. So if that 2 is there, we're going to have you subtract 2 on both sides. Do the opposite. I'm going to have you bring that 4x down. 14 minus 2 gives me 12. And then the opposite, timesing by 4, dividing by 4. And that, when you solve an equation, that is the only number in the whole universe that I could plug in for x and have it give me 14. So let me show you the check. Let me check it. Is that answer correct? If I take that 3 and plug it in right here for x and do the math, does that give me a true statement? Does that give me 14? This gives me 12 plus 12. So you can see, yes, that does give me 14. That is a true statement. Only that 3 will give me a true statement. There's only one solution to an equation. One solution. If it's an inequality, you do the math the same way, but your answers are infinite. You got to know there's an infinite number of answers because it's an inequality. So let me show you the math. Still the same. I'm going to take away 2. Bring down 4x, but don't bring down an equal. Bring down an inequality. Right there, the opposite, timesing by 4, dividing. And what this answer tells me is the answer isn't equal to 3, but the answer are all numbers less than 3. So that means there's not just one number to plug in for x. I could plug in any number I want as long as it's less than 3. I could plug in 2, I could plug in 1, I could plug in 0, I could plug in any number I want as long as it's less than 3. So for example, I'll check on this one. If I plugged in a number less than 3, how about 2? Plug in 2 in for x. 2 is clearly less than 3. If I add that up, it should give me a number that is less than 14. It does. It gives me 10 less than 14. That is true. Any number I plug in less than 3 will give me a number less than 14. If I was to plug in 0, which is definitely less than 3, that will give me a number smaller than 14. Yes, it does. So any number less than 3 will work. And for example, on this one, we're going to write maybe 3 numbers, 0, 1, 2. Those are all good numbers because they are less than 3. What happens when you do a bad check and plug a number more than 3? How about I plug in 5? If I was to plug in 5, it's going to give me a false statement, a number not less than 14. This gives me 20 plus 2. That's 22. That is not less than 14. Second word is engagement. Engagement. So again, I want you to see an expression, there's no real answer to it. There's nothing really you could do with an expression other than combine it with something else or plug in a number for x. And again, you could plug in any number you want into an expression. Any number I want, I could plug in for x. If it's an equation, there's only going to be one answer. There's only one number I could plug in for x and get that 14. If it's an inequality, I have an infinite amount of answers because again, I could have kept on going numbers smaller than 3. All these numbers smaller than 3, going all the way to infinity, to negative infinity. All those numbers smaller than 3. All right, the third word is flexibility. Flexibility. Good luck. See you tomorrow. We're starting our algebra unit.